Welcome to the Moon and Gemini podcast. I am your witch in residence, April Edwards. Today we are sitting with the full moon in Libra, arriving on April 1st at 10:11 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time. Full moons are moments of illumination. Where the new moon plants seeds in darkness, the full moon reveals what has grown since then. Something reaches visibility, something reaches culmination, and something often asks to be released. But the sign hosting the full moon tells us what kind of illumination we are receiving. The Libra's illumination is rarely about events alone. It is about relationships. Not only romantic relationships, but the entire ecosystem of how we meet the world through others. Libra is cardinal air. It governs balance, justice, negotiation, beauty, and the delicate art of coexistence. It is the part of the zodiac that asks, how do two individuals share space without erasing themselves? How do we honor both independence and partnership? Under a full moon in Libra, this question becomes impossible to ignore. The sun now sits opposite in Aries, the sign of the individual self. Aries says, I am. Libra responds, who are we? The full moon stretches a line between those two truths, and wherever the line falls in your life, something is being revealed. Full moons act like spotlights. They show us dynamics that have been quietly building for weeks or even months. In Libra, the spotlight falls on relational balance. You may suddenly see where you've been giving too much, or where you've been holding back. Notice an imbalance in communication, effort, or emotional presence. Sometimes the revelation is simple. A moment where you realize that a relationship has grown stronger than you thought. Other times the illumination is more difficult, recognizing that harmony is being maintained at the cost of honesty. Libra seeks peace. But true peace cannot exist where truth is absent. This full moon asks us to look at our relationships without illusion. Not to criticize them, but to understand them clearly. Libra is often described as the sign of harmony, but harmony is not passive. Harmony requires constant adjustment. A scale must move in order to stay balanced. This is why Libra energy is so attentive to fairness, to reciprocity, to the subtle ways in which energy flows between people. Under this full moon, you may feel more sensitive to those dynamics. You may notice who listens when you speak, who shows up when you need support, and where your own actions contribute to balance or imbalance in return. This awareness is not meant to create conflict. It is meant to restore equilibrium. Every sign carries a shadow. For Libra, that shadow is avoidance. The desire for peace can sometimes lead to silence where honesty is needed. We may smooth over tension rather than address it, agree when we actually feel uncertain, maintain appearances rather than risk disruption, but the full moon does not support avoidance. It reveals what is already present, and often the most compassionate action is not to pretend everything is fine. It is to acknowledge what is real. Truth, spoken gently, is often the beginning of deeper harmony. Remember that every full moon is also an opposition. While the moon sits in Libra, the sun remains in Aries. This creates the eternal polarity between self and other. Aries teaches autonomy. Libra teaches cooperation. Too much Aries and we forget how to consider others. Too much Libra and we forget how to honor ourselves. This full moon invites us to examine where the balance exists in our lives. Where have you prioritized peace at the expense of authenticity? Where have you asserted yourself without considering the impact on others? The wisdom of this lunation lies in recognizing that both truths must coexist. Healthy relationships do not require the disappearance of the self. They require two whole individuals choosing to meet each other honestly. If you are able, pause with me for a moment. Take a slow breath and ask yourself quietly, where in my life is balance being asked to be restored? Notice what arises first. A relationship, a conversation, a pattern of giving and receiving. You don't need to resolve everything tonight, but awareness itself shifts the scale, and sometimes that is enough to begin. The full moon in Libra reminds us that our lives are woven together through connection. Every conversation, every act of care, every moment of honesty contributes to the shape of our relationships. Balance is not something we achieve once and keep forever. It's something we practice again and again. Tonight, the moon illuminates that practice, not to judge it, but to help us refine it, so that what we build with others is not fragile harmony, but something steady, honest, and alive. This work grows through word of mouth. If it's been meaningful to you, you can like, share, or subscribe. That's how it reaches the ones who need it.